Hi, hi, this is Brett McEachran. I am making a presentation for my initial capstone for the last class in this. So this is the external client site. The idea of this capstone is to make two websites and two APIs to work with a database, to work as a scheduling and almost advertisement site for a newer company that works with histology technicians. Histology technicians basically take samples from doctors' biopsies, so like when skin cancer happens and they take a cut of the skin to determine if they've removed all the cancer. These are the people that would take that cut of skin cancer, cut it into layers that they could then put on a microscope so a pathologist could then view it and see if it was you see if all the cancer was removed or what type of cancer it is or other diseases. So as such, the first page on this, on the external client site, this is basically just kind of an about us, giving us a brief rundown and how the company works, how they prioritize approvals, and other useful information. This next is a context page, and basically what this is it's so people can reach out and see what they need to get approved, maybe why they were denied, why their appointment won't go through if for some reason the API is rejecting it, so that way they can get some fast help. An idea I had was also to maybe add a second part to this where because currently I would like to add it to where there's an avatar icon so you can see what the person looked like, but also to where, because most likely on this page you're only going to have people that are you would actively call out. You won't have as many of the actual technicians. So I would like maybe to have a second page where it's just a photo of the person with their name and their official title, just so people, when they see, oh, so and so is coming to my work, they know who to look for and they know who's security, and they can give that photo to like security to reference. The next page is the question and answers page. Generally, it's a fairly generic. I want to get more questions and answers from the company. These were two more just like test options I thought of off base while I was making the component. However, I would like to make it a little more differentiated from this and this. So what I'm probably going to do with it is take it and then make with Angular material using the table component. You can make these rows expandable. So I would like to maybe make an expanding row where the row in the beginning will just be this, what are the pricing options, and then when you click it, you'll see the answer to try to make it a little more interactive and a little different. Next, we have services, and this is similar to the questions and answers where it's the title. The title is what like the tissue, the service, the procedure is, and then like a description of it. Again, these are more test cases, and I would like to get more official, like what it would officially look like in production. Again, I would like to change it because it's kind of using the same format, so I'll probably look into changing it to this. This is the grid list, so basically it's a group of squares. I'll probably make each item have its own squares, and then when you click it, a dialog box will open, which will have the like more of a description and a bigger way of viewing it to hopefully make it a little more interactive, and so each page is a little different from everything. Now, before I get to the appointment request form, I did also add this 404 page to help if somebody makes a bookmark to this page and then a link is changed so they don't end up being confused about why something's not working or why they can't find a specific site. And as such, that's how that's working. Next, so now this is the appointment request form. This is what people fill out to actually submit an appointment to the database. Now, obviously this appointment is really long and you have to scroll and on a tablet because I do want to make the site mobile compatible. This may be annoying, so as such I'm going to switch us over to what it is on the admin version of the site where it's going to use these steppers to make it so people can actually only view one section at a time. So as such now, so I'm going to fill it in with some test information to allow us to submit. And to see like there are validators here to like, so if I enter in some gibberish, this is actually using the Angular validator for an email pattern to try to determine if it could be a valid email. So now after you've filled this out and if it's a valid form, so like if I knock this off, it will let you calculate the cost. So when you calculate the cost, it does it off of a few criteria. One is that if this is a holiday or a weekend, it's going to give you a holiday or a weekend rate amount. And also, if you do a charity, so if you hit click yes, this will basically make it so it's cheaper in order to help people who need it. The only thing with the charity is, from what I understand, the company doesn't really have a way or a list of charities they work with. They just said we'll call them and see and verify, and they will be able to update this on the admin site. So if somebody accidentally mislabels themselves, the company themselves will have to fix it. But that is how they're currently handling the situation. And then so this is basically determining whether the person wants to be judged by the time they're spending or the number of cassettes. And a cassette is basically when they get the sample tissue, they then cut it and then freeze it in a block of wax and put it in a cassette to hold it in case they ever need more slices to send to a pathologist. So they said in the past some people have wanted to be billed based on the number of cassettes they've done, whereas other people have liked to do it of booking, like if we book you for 3 hours, that's how much you pay. So this can handle both cases, and then when you calculate it, it's going to grab the rate or grab the type, and this is just a description. Then it's going to grab the rate amount, and then it's going to do the cost. So this is a 12-hour difference. So oh, and then there's events too. Whenever somebody changes one of the values that specifically impacts it, it undoes it and makes it so you can't submit. So then now after this, if you hit submit, it should be actively submitted. Hi, so this is the admin site for the application. Basically, this serves as a place for the administrators and the employees to actually perform operations on the appointment data and to track them and to try to run some basic ideas of what's going on. So now this is the stepper I referenced in the other one, in the other site that I would want to switch it to. It's just to basically make it so it's a lot more flowy, it's a lot easier, you can focus on specific things. Now, obviously, this extra field has been added to assign an employee there. So now these two cancel and deny, basically they update the status to represent that cancel and deny request functionality, as obviously you will need that. Update, basically this is useful for patching the field but not approving it. So that way if you get oh, I want to assign this employee but I want to call the company first to verify that their address is correct because this looks off, you can do that, and then as soon as you get that address corrected, then you can approve. The approve will perform a patch, so it does partially what this does, but it will also then assign the status of approved. And then so for here, if I hit approved, this will then update this. This is just a no data row. It's just a way that Angular to show that there is no data found, but there's no wrong. And so similarly, these will be shown easier later, but these are for sorting and pagination. Okay. So then next, these are made using a template for all the employees, so that way as more employees are added to the database that are technicians, these will automatically get added, as well as employees retire or get fired or however leave the company, they'll get removed. So that way it's not something that whenever an employee gets added that we have to add another row. They're automatically generated. And then so same as the other one, except now to show this will actually cause an API call to sort by these, as well as you can paginate through the rows. I can show this better later. And then, as I said earlier, when you click it, similarly, so these three are from a service, so these are the exact same functionality as the previous update, cancel, and deny. This finish is not similar to the other one, but it does the same exact thing where basically it performs a patch that updates to the finished of it. As such, this component right here is kind of for the purpose of showing the active appointments that are coming up. And generally the reason why we're not just showing people only their appointments, we're showing them everything, is because they indicated that they sometimes had places to where they'd have people that would, let's say, have a doctor appointment come up and they can't work that appointment. They'd rather, instead of having that person go to a manager and then that manager have to email out asking if anyone wouldn't mind switching, have that person look at the appointment, see if they could find a person willing to switch, and then have them both approach the manager and then the manager would perform the switch. Okay, so then now if I hit finish, this will then move it over to finished appointments. And now each of these are the similar table. Now, as I can show you, as you can see, these sort. On all of them, I didn't add in the sorting capability on phone number and email just because I didn't feel that this really mattered all that much. And then down here is the best case. So as you can see, paginator, you can select different things and it'll adjust. And as you click, it'll actually perform different moves to get the specific data. So yeah. So as such, this is how it works. And then so when you click this, you'll see different buttons depending on which table you clicked. This one is to update, same as the other ones, and then this will mark as awaiting payment. And basically what this means is that it'll move from this table to this table to this table. And the basic gist of it is these represent the different steps after the appointment has been done. Now, this payment refused, basically they wanted a way to track if they couldn't get a person to pay, like they were refusing to pay whether they thought it was too much, the service was bad or whatever, to be able to put payment refused. And then if, so for instance, if I mark as awaiting a payment, then go in here and do mark as payment refused, then when you open this, you'll have a couple of things. And so basically, if you click archive appointments paid, this will represent the database. I have two different bit values. The first is representing if they refuse payment at any point. And then the second one is controlled by these two. If you mark archive appointment as paid from here, it leaves the first bit indicating that they refused at some point, but it sets the second one to false, meaning that they did eventually pay. But the second one, it will set them to, it will basically indicate that we never received payment from them. And the idea behind this is you can kind of give an idea of, do we want to always, let's say we get a same request from the same company when we had this, maybe we'd allow another second chance if they refused at first but we got the money eventually, but maybe if they never paid us, we just straight out deny it. So as such, that's what those are for. And then this table kind of serves as an archive of like all the past appointments. Again, this is kind of if like to track, oh, did this happen? Or we can look at if they have an address, but one of the addresses is different than the other one, we can kind of look at past appointments and try to figure that out. So as such, this is kind of how that works. Now, some of the things that need to get added, obviously, I need to flesh out the permissions further, and I also would like to add some sort of way for the owner to look at the canceled and denials as well as admins to be able to like determine what companies they should permanently ban as well as other ones. So as such, this is basically where the admin site currently sits.